Jack hit me up from Lubbock, Texas. He said, I'm curious to see how you think a national title would affect the 4 remaining head coaches and their programs moving forward. Seems like each of them could reap the benefit for decades to come. You are dead on the money about that. Here's what we know. I think we know this. Do we know this? Let me float it by you. Nothing's going to change about these guys in the next 2 weeks. We know that, right? Whether they win in Atlanta or whether they lose by 14 this coming weekend, they're the coach they are. It's just that their resume, their Wikipedia page will look different. Do we agree on that? Well, we'll see. I'll read the comments. But let's go in order here. So someone's life's about to change. Pure Leo DiCaprio from Titanic. Moment of truth. Someone's life's about to change. And boy, what a mouthful that ended up being. So Penn State and James Franklin are the longest shot team here, both in terms of FanDuel odds to win it all, but also in just public perception terms. I think even at the preseason, if we were laying out all these teams and we said, all right, Ohio State, Penn State, Texas, Notre Dame, which one's the least likely? Which head coach do you think is the least likely to ever win a title? If I ran that poll, I think most people would say James Franklin. So it's the longest shot, but that just means you stand a bigger chance to totally invert the paradigm. Because you remember the initial take, at least I had this, I think many of you agreed with me because I listened to a lot of you talk this way. There was a very popular train of thought when the playoff expanded that no one would benefit from it more than James Franklin because no one had their program and their teams in position more frequently to be just on the outside looking in of a 14 playoff. What's changed? Nothing. They were either just on the outside looking in or they maybe even would have made the 14 playoff depending on how the seeding went. I'm not always a believer that the committee would have acted the same this year if it was a 14 field. But you know what? I digress. So Penn State had a little bit better season this year, maybe than they have in years past. But largely, they got a great draw. They had SMU served up to them. They had Boise. So I think most people looked at it, and even if they made the playoff, they said, you're going to win the first 2 games. You're going to win the 3rd game against whoever that is before you prove to me that you've taken a step. Well, what if they win both of them? I mean, that's an earthquake now. That's an earthquake, and it also it announces to the world that you've got a legit added superpower program that steps up to the head table in the Big Ten. Because I kind of view them that way, but I view them as like a 1B. You can't compare them to Michigan and Ohio State. They haven't won at the level those programs have. As programs, not as a team this year, as programs. Ohio State would be, I think, the most fun to see win the national championship, because if Ohio State wins a national championship, if Ryan Day wins a national title, you will have the biggest collection of like mass deletion of texts and articles and message board threads that we've ever seen in the modern era of college football. Because everyone not everyone, most people trash talked this guy after Michigan. I am not mad that there was criticism after the Michigan game. There should have been. That was pathetic. Ohio State should never look like that against a team they outclassed physically to that degree, but they did. They would have been on the outside looking in previous years. So maybe while everyone thinks this new format is the sweet spot for James Franklin, what if it's Ryan Day that ends up taking advantage of this, which they're well on their way to doing? If they win it, I'll be more interested than anything else to just hear the stories that come out after it's over. What clicked? Like, I mean, I hear whispers and rumblings, rumors, but once you get the full postmortem, like what clicked? What changed? What was the real impact of the Michigan game? Some of those honest, like put it all on the table conversational moments, what did those consist of? That'll be fun if it happens. Texas and Sark. I have been told Sark can't win the big one. I've been dutifully informed that Sark, because of evidence of him not getting it done in Washington and not getting it done at USC, that he can't win a national championship. Now, we always go with the rule on this show that there's a big difference, because Meemaw taught us this, between can't and haven't. I think Sark hasn't won a title. Many people think he cannot win a title. If he wins one, it'll be evidence that they built Texas the right way. It'll be evidence that he kind of did at Texas what Kirby did at Georgia after they learned under Saban or experienced things under Saban. But also it'll be a really good testament to lessons learned. Because you're right, he didn't win anything of note at Washington, nor did he at USC. But I'm a big believer that the basic principle of lessons learned, great Tracy Lawrence song, by the way, lessons learned, it applies in your workplace, but also their workplace. Maybe if you go somewhere and you do it the wrong way, you have the least amount of incentive to do it that way again. Maybe if someone else gives you a shot down the road, you apply those lessons learned. Just a crazy theory I have. And Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, this is the guy. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame is the guy out of all four of them that has the best chance to see his stock just surge. Because it wasn't but a few months ago that they lost to Northern Illinois, and everyone, including me on this show, ended up pointing out how many times now they've lost at home as a double-digit favorite. Where's the preparation? Where's the consistency in performance? What if you lose to Northern Illinois at home and win a national title in the same year? What do we make of that? That's a mind-blown emoji type moment for the college football public. I think that would be one of these stories in the last several years in college football. And also, if Notre Dame wins it, unlike some of these others, if Notre Dame wins it, they will have done it with a radically different style than we've seen even Michigan do it last year. You think about Michigan last year, this takes old school football to an even different level than Michigan did last year. So that's where my mind is at. It's a good question. That's where my mind is at with each of these guys.